What's good, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with a review for Power Book 2. This is Ghost. This is Season 1, Episode 10, also known as the season finale. And the episode was titled, what was it titled? Heart of Darkness. All right, you guys, I have to say I enjoyed this episode. It was a good one. It was good. There was two scenes that I loved so much. One of them I'm pretty sure you guys can guess because I've been talking about it for the last few weeks, for the whole season that we've been reviewing this show. So you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this episode review, shall we? All right, you guys, so the episode, it opens and we see a woman walking with her boots on, her bag. I'm like, oh, she bad as hell. I knew it was Monet from the jump. Then the camera panned up on Monet and they got to the wig. Child, that wig was terrible. I'm like, first of all, it was the hairline that threw me off. I'm like, damn, that is an ugly ass wig. So Monet, she's actually meeting up with Rico, who is, I didn't realize it until this week's episode. I saw people say Jackie Long was on. I'm like, Jackie Long? I'm like, y'all sure? And then lo and behold, here is Jackie Long on the screen. So he's playing Rico. So she's doing the drop to Rico. So, Rico is, Rico thinks at this point that things are good between she and him. And he asks, how was Drew? She was like, he's alive, no thanks to you. And, Monet was, he was like, well, you know what? I got to get out of here because I got to get some New York pussy. Because, obviously you ain't giving me none. So when Rico turns around, Monet, you could hear that gun, boom. She shot him in the neck and he fell, and then boom, she killed him again. So then we see Kane. So Kane's dumbass is getting rid of Ramirez's body. You guys remember last week's episode, Kane killed Ramirez, which I still don't understand why Kane killed him. That is your protection. Why would you kill the cop that's protecting you? I get it, you was upset and shit, but why would you kill him? Makes no sense to me. So while Kane is getting rid of I think that's a swamp that he's gonna put his body in. So he got his body in the bag, and he got the weights around him, so the body just sinks. So he notices that the phone is ringing, and while the phone is ringing, it is Monet calling Ramirez. So Monet is still with her dude. So like I said, Monet killed Rico, and her guard killed his guy. So Monet is like, something is up. And so then we see, we later see in the episode that Kane, he went to the hospital. You guys know Drew's in the hospital. Drew thought it was Diana, but when he let the curtain back, it was Kane. So he was like, nigga, what the fuck you doing here? Like, you said if I wasn't with you, I was against you. So, he tells him, basically, Drew told Kane in no uncertain words, get the fuck out. Like, you ain't family. Like, you went against the family. You working with Lil Wop, who pulled a gun on me and Zeke, and then like, what the fuck? So Kane is still wanting to blame Tariq for all the shit that's going on, and Drew is like, you blaming Tariq for everything, but this is all on you. And he talks about Ramirez, and Drew figured it out, like, nigga, you are really stupid. You killed him. Exactly. Like, dude, you killing people that's on your side. Yes, I get it, you was upset, but he was your protection. So now y'all gotta find another cop. Kane is so fucking dumb. So then we also see Monet. So Monet, she is talking to Lorenzo. She's telling Lorenzo what she's done. She took out Rico, and Lorenzo was telling her that was a mistake, that they needed Rico so that they could build an army so that they can go to war. I'm like, okay, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So then she also tells him that after she killed Rico, she had to hide the drugs so that way the cops wouldn't find the drugs. So she says, I did what I had to do to protect this family. So Lorenzo was telling her, okay, well, at this point, you might want to go back and get Kane. She's like, I'm not getting no fucking Kane. Like, that's what Ramirez is for. I'm like, little do you know, Ramirez is, in the swamp with an alligator. But yeah, so Lorenzo's telling her, go find Kane. So we do see Monet. She goes and finds Kane, and Kane is, fucking that girl that, he's been staying with. And Monet says, get the fuck out. So when she asked him, like, where's Ramirez? Have you saw Ramirez? And he was, he got a smart ass mouth with Monet. Monet pulled that gun on him like, motherfucker, I told you if you go against this family, I will kill you. He says, I am family, but you doing stupid shit, Kane. Like, your jealousy for Tariq is going to end up getting y'all all caught up. Is really what's going to end up happening. In a sense, that's what I feel. Because Kane is hella jealous of Tariq. I mean, I get it, but I wouldn't go as far as to do the things that Kane has done. But then, Monet kind of figures it out with the way that Kane was talking, that he killed Ramirez, and she's like doing the same thing that Drew said. How fucking dumb are you? That motherfucker was protecting y'all. Dumb as fuck. I'm gonna pause here and let's move on. All right, you guys, so next I'm gonna move over to the court scene. So we see Saxe in court. You guys remember he called Tariq down to, testify on the stand. So Tariq, he gets on the stand. So Saxe asks him about Ghost. Did he ever see Ghost abuse Tasha? And Tariq says, no, he never saw it. So then he says, okay, so the night of your father's murder, were you at Truth? He says, yes, I was at Truth. My dad was, introducing me to people. We were networking, so to speak. So he says, okay, so you were at Truth with your dad. Did you see your mom at Truth? And Tariq didn't answer the question. He says, no. He says, I didn't. He says, I saw you at Truth and you had a gun. And Saxe was like, whoa, whoa. He said, and then he says he was there on official business. So then, Tariq was like, okay, then. So Tariq actually just blew Saxe out of the water because Tariq says that, okay, Saxe, you're going off of something that you heard me say at my father's grave, and you followed me there, and then the reason why you know this is because someone's, gave you my location, and I was also drugged at the same time. So the judge was like, whoa, Mr. Saxe, what the hell is going on? Did you have someone drug a college student and XYZ? So, and he says, and I also know that someone else knows, talking about Davis. So the judge was like, they were like, can we have a, meeting in your chambers? And she's like, hell yeah, get in there. So she's in the office with, she's in her chambers with, Saxe and with Davis, going off on him like, what the hell are you two doing? Like, really? So then Tamika and Steven come in. So Steven tells the judge to get out of her own. I'm like, how do you tell a judge to get out of her chambers? But yeah, so Steven tells her to get out. Steven is going in on Saxe. He's going in on Davis. And Tamika's like, I was looking, Tamika schooled Tariq well on what to say on his stand. So at this point, the case, because, Davis wanted a mistrial. She was like, a mistrial? Get the fuck out of here. So at this point, their hands are tied. So they got to make a deal with Tasha somehow because this looks really bad. So Steven tells Tasha, what it is, you and Tariq, y'all will be free. But what you'll have to do is you'll have to give up Tommy Egan in, this whole kingpin thing and this, this murder of James. So, Tasha was like, okay, but she wanted witness protection. They were like, you got it. She's like, witness protection for me and my family, including Tariq. And, Steven was like, it's not going to happen, or we can refile these charges. And she was like, can they do that? And they was like, they can. So she was like, okay, cool, you got a deal. So then we do see Tasha as she's getting out of jail. And, Davis wanted her to do an interview with the press. So then, we see Tasha. So she's talking to Tariq about this. And she's telling Tariq that I'm not going to say shit about Tommy. Like, we getting the fuck out of Dodge. So Tariq was like, what, let me handle this. So then we later see Tasha. So Tasha went to go see Monet. And Monet already knew who Tasha was. So Tasha tells Monet, like, hey, Monet, like, I'm getting out of town. I want my son to come with me. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to get rid, get him out of the game. Like, I will buy him out. And Monet was like, Tariq is a grown man, and let's keep it real. I didn't seek Tariq out. Tariq sought me out. So that's between Tariq. And she was like, and when it comes down to it, Tariq is always going to protect you, which that is true. So while Monet and Tasha are in her bar, gunshots just start ringing out, and then her dude comes in and he all shot up and he just falls dead. And then Tasha goes and looks outside, and who do we see? That Mustang that is Tommy motherfucking Egan. I'm like, oh, I saw the Mustang. I'm like, is this really Tommy, or are they gonna just have the car, just show the car and never show Tommy? So it was Tommy's car. So then we see Tasha. She goes to Tariq's room. He's packing, and she tells him like, Tommy came up and shot up Monet's club. We got to get the fuck out of here. Like, pack your shit and let's go now. And Tariq is like, nah, Ma, if we gonna do this, we gotta do things the right way. And I'm gonna explain what he's talking about in just a little bit. So then we see Tasha. She's on the phone with Tariq. I guess she's doing some errands. So in the backseat of her car, Sax is in the backseat of the car. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to set up Tommy. So, Tommy finds Tasha, and he finds Tasha, and he's following in behind her. So then Sax hops up out the backseat of the car. So he spots Sax, and then he spots all the other cops. So Sax tells Tasha, when you go to that stop sign, stop. Now when you go forward, just speed on off. So that's what she did. She sped on off, and Tommy didn't follow her. Tommy took a left. So he's on a chase with the cops. So he does eventually lose the cops. But then what he does is he takes the car that he's in, which is actually Kate's car that was reported stolen. Yeah. So he blew that car up. I actually got ahead of myself, but we can get there. So Sax, let's throw him in real quick since I realized that I went out of order. Now Sax, we saw him early in a scene before this scene with Tommy. He was having sex with, I think it was one of the women that works at the courthouse. I couldn't figure out who that woman was, but he was having sex with her. He got a text message from Davis about, Kate's car being stolen, and that Tommy is back and he's trying to kill Tasha. So he's going to go set up, he was trying to set Tommy up to get his job back. So then I'm going to throw this scene in here. So this is after the court. So we see Riley. So Riley was in court, and after court, she went to go find Braden. And she's, Braden is still pissed off at her about what she did. So in a nutshell, Riley tried to warn, Braden about Tariq. Tariq is only out for himself. In the long run, Tariq might end up getting you killed, getting you hurt or worse, killed, which is actually true. So then to wrap up this whole storyline with Sax, we see Sax, he's packing up his office because, Steven told him he's resigning. So he's packing up his office. Davis comes in, and Davis offers Sax a job. Interesting. Let's move on. All right, you guys. So next, let's talk about, Tariq, Jabari, Carrie, and Zeke them. So Tariq before he went to the courthouse, Tariq went to class. But he got to class and he found out that class was canceled because Lauren's like, they sent out an email because I've got they canceled class. Well, the reason that they canceled class, she said, is because they're still interviewing the students. And Tariq was like, but I thought they said that none of the students knew anything. Well, that was then. This is now. So while he's talking to Lauren, we notice that Everett is going to talk to Jabari and Carrie. So Lauren is like, well, since you're going to court, do you want me to come along with you? Like, I can go to my room and get dressed. Tariq was like, nah, it's all good. So we see Everett, and Everett is talking to Jabari and Carrie. So Everett is telling Jabari and Carrie about the night that, him, Zeke, the other basketball players, and Drew were in the club when the GTG boys, ambushed them and was, had the gun pointed to Zeke's knee. So they were like, okay, so what happened after that? He was like, well, the gun was on, the gun got knocked to the ground. And she was like, well, how did the gun get knocked to the ground? He was like, well, I don't know. Then he says, well, his cousin Drew did it. Well, maybe he did it. And they were like, did you guys have anything to drink? He was like, yeah, we were drunk. She was like, well, how many drinks did you have? He said, about 6. So I was confused at that point. I'm like, so how? The thing I know Carrie knows about, I know she knows about the GTG boys. I know she knows about I know she's kind of putting clues together, but I'm like, how much has she put together? And I was kind of confused. I'm like, huh? Because for somebody who was drunk, he had a really great memory. That was the weird part. So if you're gonna say you drunk, you can be like, I was drunk and I don't remember too much about what happened. Honestly, I don't even know. I know what night it was, but I don't know too much about it. Like hell, I blacked. You could say I blacked out, but he's giving you a whole lot of information about it. So Carrie tells him to go on, and if they need him, they'll talk to him. Now Jabari, on the other hand, I'm like, I think Jabari's starting to put the clues together, which might not be good for him. So then we see Zeke. So Zeke, he goes to Tariq's room, and Zeke asks Tariq, has he heard from Drew? Because he's been trying to reach out to Drew, but nothing. And has he been to Monet's? And Tariq was like, nah. He's like, what's up? He says, well, Drew's name got mentioned, and I'm just trying to fix, about the club scene. He's like, wait, what club stuff? So he's like, I'm just trying to fix this and give Drew a heads up in case the cops come after him. So then we later see Tariq. So Tariq met up with Diana, and then they talk about Zeke, and Tariq is worried about Zeke, and Diana's like, my mom doesn't want Zeke, caught up in this, and Tariq was like, it might be too late for that, because Drew's name came up, and Diana was like, fuck, because he said they're looking closer to him. So he said, well, what about Ramirez? And Diana was like, Ramirez, yeah. That's not an option. He was like, why? And she says she didn't flat out tell him, but she told him and basically Kane killed that motherfucker. And she tells him like, you got to watch your back when it comes to Kane, because as much as Kane hated Ramirez, he hates you even more. So then we later see Tariq. So Tariq is coming from his dorm, and he gets a text message from Jabari about meeting him during his office hours. So Braden also meets up with Tariq, and Braden's telling him about, Riley when she came. And he's like, so what did she say to you? He said, she told me to watch my back with you because you're not trustworthy, and you're keeping shit from me. He is keeping a lot of shit from you, homie. A lot. But, Braden is like, it is what it is with her. So Braden at this point is telling Tariq that he still wants to do this whole, app thing. And he's like, well, actually, he's like, what are we going to do about it? Tariq was like, I don't know. But Braden, he wants to continue with this app. Braden feels like he's good at something. I'm like, you good at doing, okay, never mind. So you guys remember I was talking about Tommy. He went after Tasha. So Tariq actually found Tommy, who was checking on Cash. And, he before he met Tommy, he texted Jabari asking him about, telling him he needs that advance. So Tariq was begging and pleading with Tommy not to kill his mom because that's all he has left. He was like, well, nigga, you took out your daddy, so the fuck? And then your mama over here trying to snitch on my ass, and then she killed Keisha. Honestly, God, I don't give a fuck about Keisha. I'm so glad Keisha's dead. Oh, praise Jesus that she's dead. Thank God. Here was the weird thing that I noticed in this episode. So you guys remember when I told you that, Tasha was being followed by Tommy. So Tariq actually had given her a burner phone, and she texted, it was daylight when she sent that text message, but it was nighttime when Tariq got the text. It was daylight, like early day. So it was like anywhere between the early AM up until like about 3. But when that text message came through, that was nighttime. that was between 8. That had to be at least 7 on down. And I was just like, huh? How did he just get this text message? But you know what? I'm not complaining. I thought that was a little weird. But yeah, he got the text message from Tasha, and it was asking about did he get the money? So at this point, he's meeting up with Jabari. Actually, you know what, you guys? I'm gonna pause on that part and go back down because I just realized something. Yeah, so let's backtrack just a little bit, okay? So, you guys remember I told you that when Everett was doing that interview with Carrie and Jabari, they ended it. So Carrie and Jabari went back to their office, and Zeke was there. And so Zeke went and talked. They went in her office and they're talking. Zeke was pissed off at her because of this whole situation. She wasn't supposed to go to the cops. It was supposed to be his choice. Now here's one thing that I noticed about Carrie: that dress she had on. It was cut open on both sides of her stomach. I'm like, that is not a professional dress. I was confused by that, but whatever. I mean, I've never saw a professional dress like that. All right. So yeah, so basically in a nutshell, she tells Zeke to not worry about it and that she'll take care of it. And then also that Everett said that they were drunk. And she says it'll never get back to the detective. And then they just start making out in the office. I'm like, huh? You do realize Jabari is next to you. He probably can hear it. Okay, never mind. So then we do see Jabari, and he was looking up Zeke on his computer. And when he was looking up Zeke, he found that photo from the basketball game. And you can see Tariq, you can see Drew, you can see Kane, Diana, and Monet. So at this point, I'm like, oh, he is connecting the dots. And it ain't going to be good. So Tariq, he went to Jabari's office, and Jabari is asking for information about Drew, and Tariq is basically telling him, I don't know what you're talking about. But then Jabari had to open his big ass mouth and say, well, I do know that you are selling drugs on campus. So he's like, huh? I'm not selling drugs. He says, and I know that Drew is distributing it to you, and I know that Drew is connected to the GTG. I'm like, dude, if you know all this stuff, why are you saying it out loud? Dumbass. So Jabari tells Tariq that he will protect him. And he says, and I'll give you money for my advance if you let me write my next book about you. I'm like, ooh, famous last words. So let's backpedal back to what I was just talking about before I got here. So Tariq was meeting up with Jabari to get this advance for from the book that he was gonna give him. And again, if you know that this kid is selling drugs, why would you be? The shit that Jabari did in this episode was so stupid to me, like hella dumb. So he met up with Tariq. He gave him the money. He said it's not, he can get him more. And Tariq's like, it's fine. So Jabari asked him who killed the GTG boy. I'm like, dude, you just said he sells drugs. Why would you? And when he did that, he got shot by Kane. I'm like, thank God somebody shot his ass. I thought it was gonna be a fatal shot, but it wasn't. He was just sitting on the ground bleeding. And then Kane and Tariq are just talking about the business in front of him. I'm like, and he's talking about I'm bleeding out. I'm like, dude, that was your opportunity to try to crawl away, do something. Because I mean, if they are sitting here telling you, if they are sitting here in your face talking about the operation and the business and who all works for them, don't you think they're gonna kill you? And lo and behold, Tariq asked, Drew came for the gun, and Tariq told him, I killed my, he was like, you're a good kid, you won't do this shit. If that little nigga killed his daddy, who won't he kill? And Tariq pops him. I'm like, sorry to tell you, buddy, but you're stupid. So Jabari is dead, and Carrie, she was reading the email from Jabari after this scene, and I think the email was like he'll make it up to her or something like that. I don't know. So she's about to get it in with Zeke. Oh God. Can she be next? Like literally, can she be next on the hit list? God. All right, you guys. I was about to say that's it, but it's not it because there's another scene that I need to talk about. I just gotta find the notes. All right, you guys. So Tariq, I guess after he's disposed of Jabbar's body, he's back in his room, and Tommy calls him. So Tariq and Tommy came up with that plan. So Tommy didn't kill himself. I figured that. I'm like, Tommy must have jumped out of that car before he crashed it. So the plan worked. So Tariq says that, they leave him. He ain't got to worry about nothing. Tasha's not going to talk to the feds and nothing like that. So after he ends the phone call with Tommy, he makes another phone call and he says he needs some help. So, and Tommy told him he was on a turnpike. I'm like, okay. So then we see Tasha. So Tasha was at the cemetery talking to, Raina's grave. And, Tariq shows up. He asks her, where's Yaz at? Shit, Tasha don't even know where Yaz. Nobody knows where Yaz is. The only person that knows where Yaz is Big Mama. That is Big Mama's daughter, not Tasha's. Because Tasha ain't never got Yaz. So Tommy is at the grave, and he was about to take, Tasha out. But before he could take Tasha out, the feds show up talking about, they got a hit that, there's a plot, there's a attack on her life. So they getting ready to take her, and they leaving Tariq. So she's gone. Tommy comes up behind Tariq and like, you little motherfucker, your mama is good as mine. He's like, I knew you were gonna say that, so that's why I got her, far away where you can't find her. So then, Tom was about to take out Tariq until, Monet pull up behind him with a gun and take his gun. I'm like, oh shit, prepared. And, Tom was like, okay, I see you, little nigga. And, he told Monet, like, you might want to watch your back with that one. Because, I mean, if he, again, like I said to Jabari, if he can kill his daddy, what won't he do to protect himself? So, yeah, Monet, watch your back. Just saying, watch your back, girlfriend. And basically, in a nutshell, that's the end of the episode. I thoroughly did enjoy this episode. I noticed, after I finished the episode, I went back to my, the little guide on my Apple TV, and it said "Power Never Ends." So something told me to click on it, and it was a music video by 50 Cent for the theme song of Power Book 3. Why don't they just name it Raising Canaan instead of Power Book 3? I know that is set to premiere sometime this year. I don't know when, but that's gonna wrap it up for Power Book 2 Season 1. I guess I'm gonna have to watch Power Book 3 Raising Canaan to see if I want to review that shit. Cause that's set in the past, right? Well, obviously, cause Canaan is dead. So this is set in the past. So is Power Book 3 the one that is going to revolve around Canaan, Ghost, and Tommy in their younger years? Is that the one that we saw that clip for at the end of the original Power, where we saw the young Angela going up to Tommy and Ghost at the school? I think that's that one. I think that's the one. I think that's Raising Canaan. Correct me in the comment section below if I'm wrong, you guys. I would rather see Power Book. Is it Force? Is that the one that's revolving around Tommy? I think that's the one that's revolving around Tommy. I know that there's one Power Book that I'm just not going. I will watch it, but I know for a fact I just don't think I want to review it. And that's the one that's going to revolve around Tate. Like, why do we want to show about Rashad Tate? Actually, you know what? I'll watch that one too. I'll watch that one. So yeah, that is going to wrap it up for Power Book 2. I've enjoyed Power Book 2. I will say that. I've enjoyed this show. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Be sure to leave your comments again. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware of when I drop anything else. And also share the video. And until the next one, you guys do me a favor. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember, wash your hands, wear your mask, and socially distance. Oh, and also, you guys, Click in the description bar below for my link to my planner channel. I have 2 videos up there now, and I'm going to be doing 2 more sometime this week. I'm going to do a monthly plan with me, and I think I might do a weekly plan with me, and I'm going to, actually that'll be 3. I'm going to do a monthly plan with me, a weekly plan with me, and then I'm going to finish the other side of my passion roadmap. But you guys, I'll see you guys later on for Real Housewives of Atlanta. Yeah. Also, you guys, I am reviewing Bell Collective. I know that I said I was wrapping up, but I am doing Bell Collective. So I did watch episode 1 of Bell Collective. That review is going to be recorded today, but that review is not going to be up for you guys to see until the episode airs on January 15th on OWN. So so yeah, you guys will see me for Real Housewives of Atlanta later tonight. Bye, guys.